Oh, hello everybody. All right. We are we are finally getting this thing live here. Give us just a second to come online. We're trying to get to Sam Walker here as quickly as possible. We have a quite a bit of snow going on down in Colorado and um so let's go ahead and I don't know why it's not showing anybody's streaming here, but anybody's watching, but we'll just get started and we'll hope for the best. There we go. All right, cool. Jared Smith here with Carolina Weather Group down in Charleston, South Carolina. We are in a winter weather frenzy here in the Carolinas, and we've got our own Sam Walker out on the Outer Banks of North Carolina with a major problem with his camera. Sam, what's it like?
Jared got me muted. Am I there?
You're
audio now?
good.
Okay, well, we're getting blasted. I am in Corolla, North Carolina. That is the Currituck Beach Lighthouse. We're at the Whalehead Club, one of the most historic hunt clubs on the Outer Banks. And it's cold. It is cold. It is blowing. The wind, the snow really have picked up. Really, maybe in the last 30 or 45 minutes, we really started to see these big gusts starting to come through here. The snow really started to pick up right around noon on the northern Outer Banks. We've seen it for a while down on Hatteras and Ocracoke as the morning had worn on. I want to get my Carolina Weather Group hat. There you go. There's the Carolina Weather Group hat, beanie on.
Nice.
It really started. You got to support the brand. It really started to come down here over the last 3 hours, and we've started to see accumulation. I don't want to be safe. Just the wind blowing is really making it tough to figure out an accumulation here. It's got to be at least a half inch. Most everything is coated. Starting to see the roads get kind of rough here on the Outer Banks as we've started to see the snow really start to accumulate. It's been wet for the most part, and that's a reaction of the precipitation with the brine that DOT put down the last couple of days. But there are areas where they're starting to see some slick spots here. I know my camera's probably going to get blurry here because we're getting the snowfall on the winds. But it really has started to crank down here, Jared. And we're starting to see the ocean get a little angrier. We're going to be dealing with that as well. On top of all the snow, we're expected to get up here anywhere from 8 to 12 inches where I'm on the northern Outer Banks to around 4 to 6 on Hatteras. 8 to 12, pretty much all of northeastern North Carolina is under 8 to 12 possibilities between now and tomorrow afternoon. But we also have that coastal flood threat that we're watching for. Thankfully, it looks like we're not going to deal with it today. It's tomorrow when we have high tide around 7 a.m., and we're expecting to see our peak winds overnight. Folks that are in these houses here on the Outer Banks, they're going to be making a lot of noise tonight, folks. If you've never been in a house when it blows hard on the Outer Banks, it's a unique thing to be in. It creaks, it groans, it makes all kinds of noises, and when it's blowing 40 to 50 with gusts up to 60 as my camera tries to go flying away now, it can be an experience. So it's going to get rough here as we go through the next few hours all the way through tonight and into tomorrow morning.
Yeah, Sam, I can tell just out there. I mean, that is, it's a lot of, it looks like it's a lot of fluffy snow. It looks like it's a lot of dry snow. It is definitely blowing. I can definitely see it moving around very nicely there.
Yeah, it is. That's one thing about it. It's been a very dry snow where we're normally dealing with a very damp snow that, is going to accumulate a little bit faster, but also be a little bit more of a problem. This is not snowball making snow. We've talked about this the whole time. Because we've had such cold temperatures the last couple of days, we've got cold weather now, and the temperatures are not going to be warming up any. It's going to stay probably a dry snow. Although there might be a little bit. I'm going to bend down here. Yeah, you can see it's a fluffy, light, won't do any. I mean, you're not going to get anything made. Snowballs, no snowmen with this. And that's going to help things out. Interesting, you got that radar and satellite up right now, Jared, because you can see, man, look at that dry slot right along just west I-95 here in eastern North Carolina. We've talked about the dry slot and the triangle. US 1, actually, now I look at it closer, that's that US 1 corridor. So the triangle and the sandhills, really not seeing a whole lot of it. They've got more probably now than they've had the whole time. But that dry slot is set up almost directly over Raleigh and then down straight south down I-40 as it heads toward Wilmington. That's going to keep their snowfall totals down in that part of the state. But out here, you can see some darker colors starting to mix in. And I do see that rain that's kind of getting in down as we get down towards Hatteras and Frisco. So, dude, it is cold out here. I'm not going to lie. This is brutal. This is brutal.
Yeah, no, Sam. I mean, this is really impressive. I mean, we're seeing, we're looking at the radar here, and again, it is really coming down. We do have some of those almost convective elements too. Your snow. So the snow is coming from two places. It's coming from it's coming from the surface low, but it is also coming from the upper low that's digging in, and I'm getting the upper low snow at this point over here in my neck of the woods. So this is where the coastal low is. It's roughly, roughly near Wilmington, and you can see that there's lightning and thunder. I mean, there's thunderstorms in the warm sector of this thing, which is kind of wild to think. I don't know if you're going to get any thunder snow, but that would be icing on the cake.
Oh boy, would that be the icing on the cake? There's a certain someone who just happens to be down the road from me a little bit who will be going nuts if that happens.
Yeah, you'll probably hear that certain someone, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that certain someone is Jim Cantori.
Yep.
So you'll see, that dry slot through the triangle is kind of brutal, but I mean, again, the upper low is barreling its way in, and as we pan a little bit, over to Charlotte and places like Charlotte, Columbia. Columbia's been in it for hours at this point, and now it's starting to fill in Charleston. We're getting a lot of reports now of we had some sleet changing over, and that is now really starting to come into play here. But yeah, it's snowing all the way back into Atlanta, where they're reporting 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
That is nuts. That is nuts. I saw that, and it's crazy. And that's still got to come this way. If it's blowing 60 in Atlanta with this thing, Lord knows what it's going to do when it actually all comes together tonight, right off of the Outer Banks.
Yeah, and we were talking with Frank Strait, our venerable panelist here on the Carolina Weather Group, and he was suspecting something like a sting jet, where you have a big thing of dry air that's rapidly descending and kicks those winds up. And it may not be well organized enough for that, but that certainly is not out of the realm of possibility there. So that might be something that we need to keep an eye on as time goes on. We are, obviously, when we look at Sam, when we look at your shot again, it's not a ton of snow, but it is enough to coat and cover. Are you noticing any slippery spots, any icy issues right now?
Yeah, as I was driving my way up to Corolla, you could start seeing, so especially in places that are a little exposed to the ocean and not really have any trees. That's one thing about Highway 12 and you get up here. It's kind of surrounded, it goes through maritime forest, so it's surrounded by these live oak trees, and that kind of cuts that wind down. But in places where it's a little bit more open through some of the neighborhoods that are up here in Currituck County on the Outer Banks, you can start to see where it was starting to drift over. And when we talk drift, we're talking just a little bit. You can see it blowing over and starting to collect. And that's where we're starting to see those slick spots. I noticed, hey, I'm getting a little sideways, a little bit of, getting a little drifting action going on out there. So it has been it's getting bad. And I'm sure as we go through the next couple hours, it's just going to get worse. Frank's going outside too.
Yeah, Frank's going outside. Yeah, I was just about to say. Yeah, we got Frank. We were just talking about you. Frank was talking about the possible sting jet there, but yeah, that's Frank's place in Columbia. Frank, how's it been? You've been in it for a little bit, probably.
Yeah, we've just started to get into the heavier snow over the last 45 minutes to an hour here in Columbia, or in my case, a little south of Columbia near Gaston, South Carolina. You can see this is my front porch where I'm standing, so you can see it's not really sticking to the roads here all that well. A little bit on my driveway and in the shadier walkway close to the house here, but my neighbors' yards are mostly snow covered, as is mine. Snow on the rooftops and so forth. Just before noon, or actually a little after noon, I took a quick drive over to the grocery store to grab a couple of things while the roads were still in decent shape. And I did see it at the time, it was starting to stick to US 321 out there, less so in my neighborhood, but Certainly, some areas were starting to get a little slippery at that point. And it's my understanding the roads around Columbia are starting to become slippery, especially in town, and even more so off to the north where the heavier snow has been going on longer, Jared.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I suspect that your road is not going to stay that clear for much longer, considering just some of the snow rates that we're seeing on the radar, and it's been quite impressive
Yes, you
throughout.
don't have to go far north and northwest of Columbia where it's really been coming down, especially in the upstate along I-85. It's really been dumping up there and over toward the Charlotte area as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a different look at the radar here, and let's do that one. Or that there. Let me do that. And of course, the one that I wanted to work didn't work. Such as luck, right? So there we go. All right. So first of all, this is looking in Charleston, and you can see a lot of MPing reports now coming in for snow all over James Island, downtown now, up into Mount Pleasant. But as we get into Columbia here, and I'm going to switch views. Let me just switch to that real quick and give me a second for all that to kick in. You can start to see that there's been some snow reports of we had an inch near Findlay Park so far, and you can see some of these higher reflectivities getting into 25 dBz, which is pretty respectable, honestly, for this kind of snow event. And put that into motion there, and you can see there's plenty of snow barreling in. I think Frank is going to get settled here. But yeah, lots of snow moving in. You can see the MPing reports in Columbia. You can see a lot of a couple bigger bands actually down south towards Aiken and Wagner, it looks like. So that could be very interesting for those folks here in the next little bit. Something that we'll want to keep an eye on as well. Now, Sam, again, when I go back to I'm going to go back to the wider view here, and we can above my big head, we can see that it looks that the coastal low is really performing for you right now, and there seems to be no end in sight as far as the as far as what's incoming here. This is a pretty good flow here right now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if that rain that we're seeing to come up on the Hatteras Island and Ocracoke, if that truly is rain or if it's just returning that way. I mean, I haven't looked into recent temperatures. The last time I checked temperatures in Buxton, it was like 35, and we were getting snow, which shows you how cold the ground, how cold the surface is. Even with the AWAS there at Billy Mitchell Field in Frisco, measuring 35 when it was snowing pretty good in Buxton around noon and Frisco and Hatteras Village and Ocracoke. But I'm curious to see how much that rain. But, man, I don't see it getting above 30 here where I'm at on the other end of the Outer Banks, about 100 miles north, anytime soon. It does not feel that way. I'm going to make an executive decision because I got icicles starting to form on my phone. I'm going to make an executive decision here. I'm going to let you guys kind of take things over for a little bit, get in the truck, warm up a little bit, maybe do a little driving around as we're doing this, okay?
That sounds good, Sam. Yeah, get in there, get warm, get your phone warm. Let's get those icicles off of there before it's too late. So thank you, Sam, and we'll be in touch here shortly. Frank Strait is live again, looks like from the backyard, and got a bit of a winter wonderland there, Frank.
We sure do. I guess I'm up to an inch or so here. I don't have a ruler in hand, so I can't measure it for sure at the moment. But yes, the snow started to come down fairly hard now. The wind's picking up too. I guess we're seeing gusts of 15 to 20 miles an hour so far, and the winds will likely increase further as the afternoon wears on. And also, Stormy the Weather Cat is very unhappy that I put her outside and is starting to have snow accumulate on her back.
Oh, yeah.
Let her back in. I think I've tortured her enough. So that's how it looks like here on the south end of the Columbia Metro right now. And this is only really the beginning of the heavier snow. We still have hours of this left. So no surprise if we end up seeing another 4 or 5 inches accumulate in this part of the Carolinas, Jared.
Yeah, no doubt, Frank. I mean, we are, we are just now, we're really just getting into this. I think that's the thing to drive home. For some of us, it was kind of a slow start. Already people were like, "Hey, you should be fired." But as Bill Walsh just put in the weather chat, the weather service chat, they said it would snow. Just saying, and yes, it is indeed doing that. I've got the synoptic view up, Frank, and you can see, the big upper low, according to the computer analysis, is pretty much right over Atlanta. So we're right in that sweet spot of that upper low now, where it's just going to start, just really ringing out and puking snow. While Sam is sitting in the sweet spot of the coastal low. And then you have the unfortunate dry slot, just through the triangle down towards Myrtle and Wilmington right now. And that should fill in from west to east over time. But that's definitely going to have some impacts on the overall snow totals there. But yeah, getting very cold here. We're down to freezing now at Charleston International Airport, freezing in Moncks Corner. Columbia, you're in the 20s. We're in the 30s out here on the Outer Banks. Getting to about 20, getting into the teens now in Charlotte. We're near where James is. It's about 19. And we should be hearing from James here fairly soon. He's taking care of a couple things, but we should get him on here. Oh, you see, I just speak his name 3 times and he shows up. It just works beautifully. So we're gonna go find. We're gonna get James up here in a second. He's got his live shot set up out there, and just we'll get him in here in just a second so he can tell us just how cold it is here shortly. But yeah, this upper low is barreling. This upper low is barreling in. I have it on the water vapor here, and it is just digging just really as modeled, and it is doing the thing we expect it to do. James, I think you're still getting combobulated. Let us know. But it looks like you're just about combobulated.
Yeah, I think this is a official National Weather Service definition. Combobulated.
That sounds good. We like that. So. So James, we've been looking at some of the numbers about how cold it is, but how cold is it really?
Better gloves for this afternoon update of the Carolina Weather Group is this morning with my hands were getting wet because of how fluffy the snow was. I had like cotton; those weren't doing the trick. These are more of like a plastic-based glove. Last I checked, the temperature I think was 21, 22, and we have a light here now. It is going to be much, obviously the temperature is going to drop because that happens at night, but when we amplify some of those wind tonight, we're talking single-digit wind chills. That's why we have those extreme wind warnings in place, and that's why when I'm done talking to you all, I'm going to go get more firewood and bring it back inside with me.
Yeah, James, that sounds like a pretty good idea. It's the extreme cold is going to be is the less fun but still very impactful part of this. And with snow on the ground, that is going to just add to it. So, yeah, it's been kind of it's been an interesting day so far, and we're starting to see the snow really begin to pick up now further south where I am. So down in Charleston, so Sydney is letting us know that it's snowing in West Ashley. So is Kay Smith, and hello to you too, and. We got snow in Goose Creek. We've got big flakes of snow sticking to the ground in Ridgeville, South Carolina. So that's just northwest of Summerville up I-26. Nonstop in Concord, dry snow. Official CoCoRa's measurement of stray cat tummy to shoulders deep. So that will, that works. Honestly, I can picture that perfectly. Hendersonville, a lot of gusts, 6 inches plus of dusty snow getting blown around. Really an active, kind of an active afternoon here. And again, I've got the radar and satellite up behind me, and you can see that there is more coming. There is a lot coming. We still have a ton of moisture coming in off of the Atlantic, getting into that cold air. That's really going to be taking aim on eastern North Carolina here. We have the dry slot of unfortunateness from Myrtle Beach to Raleigh. And then we have the upper low driven moisture, which is coming through Columbia now and really starting to fill in the Tri-County area of Charleston. And this will eventually head up towards Myrtle Beach as time goes on. We're also seeing a little bit of snow banding that's approaching Savannah as well. So this is really getting fairly deep into Georgia as well. Not that we're the Georgia weather group, but they are our neighbors, and we want to keep an eye on them too.
I will tell you, to add on to all those snow reports you just said, Jared, I've got at least 4 inches here in Charlotte near Matthews. I know Brad Panovich at the WCNC closer to the airport is coming in at 6 or 7 inches right now. And we're still looking at snowfall rates of about 1 inch an hour with, as you said, more moisture on the way. It has been snowing since I woke up this morning. It's been snowing since we did our 9 a.m. update with you all. And I think it's going to be snowing until the sun goes down tonight.
Yeah, it's it is very yeah, it is quite a thing. So we're going to get Sam back into the picture here. Hopefully he's warming up. Hopefully the icicles are, yeah. Hold on.
Now, Jared, I will tell you one that. Oh, is Sam back? I will yield to Sam.
Sam is
He's probably
back.
got a more
Yes, I got
interesting
Sam
story
back.
than me.
I don't know about that, James. I will say this. I have never seen my phone, when I put it back on the charger, say, cold. I'm slow charging because of cold temperatures. Usually it's because I've overheated this phone and doing 1,000 things. But, man, James talked about it this morning, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Exposed skin in these conditions is not wise. And I was only out there, what we did about 15 minutes of this hit, maybe about 20 minutes by the time I got set up and everything. This wind, these cold temperatures do not mix if you have exposed skin. So when we talk about cold exposure, when we've talked all about the wind chill advisories, or now what we call cold weather warnings and extreme cold, I can attest to that because my fingers are trying to still not want to work at the moment. I can definitely tell just being out for 20 minutes, that was enough to really be dangerous. So we've talked about it before, not a whole lot. We focused so much on the snow, so much on the coastal impacts of this storm, but the just extreme cold temperatures, if you're going to have to be out in this, or you're going to go out in this and play, whatever, over the next few days, you really need to have everything covered because it is not something that you want to mess with because it can get really serious very quickly, and I can attest to that right now.
Yeah, I can pile on to that too, Sam. This is a very cold snow. It was sticking to the gloves I had on this morning. I have changed those gloves so that my hands are not as cold, but layers are going to be key. And the other observation that I'm making right now, and what I'm about to say is going to slightly contradict itself. It's a very powdery snow. It's very hard to pack if you're trying to make a snowman or a snowball. But because we now have 4, 5, 6 inches of it, press it down, it does kind of compact enough to make a layer. And as I walked off camera just a moment ago to make an adjustment here, a spot that had melted and froze and melted and froze and melted and froze, it is. So once we lose that sunlight tonight, combined with those dangerous temperatures that Sam was just talking about, any of these areas that are kind of compacted, while it's not the ice storm of last week, I mean, I did almost just slip walking into my garage just now. So it's probably all the more reason to stay inside and stay warm. I don't know if somebody pulled a Scotty or if we just have a really long satellite delay now that we're all outside in the field, Jared.
There we go. Yep, Jared, I think you had yourself muted. Now I'm unmuted, so I'm here.
I was like, maybe my earpiece went out.
No, you're still good. I think Jared's not even able to hear us at the moment, so hang on there. I think he's lost his mic.
All right, well, I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
We have not seen a snowplow go by here yet,
There we go.
which I think is interesting, right? This is a tertiary road. This is a neighborhood road here in Charlotte, right on the border of Matthews. But I'm hearing tales from people who have wandered out beyond that even some of the secondary and primary roads are not great. That's not to throw shade on the people who are trying to get them cleared. I don't know if there were just too many people out on the road, but I saw a tweet this morning at like noon that said there had been over 100 accidents in the Greensboro area. I saw accidents spinning up here on Charlotte. I saw slow traffic all across the North Carolina and South Carolina area on the DOT maps. I don't know if people are like, well, we made it through last week, so this is not that, and I'm going to go out, and that's causing amplification of the travel impacts. But again, I think the best place to be is just inside.
No, definitely, and I think you're right that people have, and some of it is cabin fever, man. We've been dealing this now for over a week. Between the ice storm last weekend, now we're dealing with this. I think cabin fever's going on. It's not wise to be out there, and we know there's people who have to be on the roads because people had to go to work today. When there's stores that are open today, they don't close no matter what, and they were saying we're going to be open. My wife works for one who she would have been the one that had to go into work today if it wasn't her regular day off. It's just how it is in retail. So that we know that, but people need to really be taking it seriously. And as you mentioned, primary routes are going to be the only ones that are going to be getting anything while we've got snowfall going on. It's going to be a while before the secondaries get to it and the tertiaries as well. But the primary routes are going to be the ones that are going to be focused on because that's the ones that are going to see the most traffic. That's the ones that are going to get the most use and be the ones that need to be cleared the fastest so we can at least get back to normal once this all gets out of here in a couple of days.
The other thought is animals. Obviously, pets, bring them inside. I'm not well equipped enough to know what to do if you're, somebody who raises animals professionally. But the wildlife too, they're experiencing this as much as the rest of us. And in order for me to bring you this camera shot right now, my garage door is open and my camera is inside. I had a bird fly in before, and it was just hanging out in my garage because who could blame him? It's probably one of the warmest places he could get to right now.
Yeah. Hey, let me throw something animal at you because where I am right now here in Corolla, we have the Corolla Wild Horses, which is a herd of about 100 wild Spanish Mustangs, the official horse of North Carolina. And yes, they are out there, and yes, they stay out there. And when we get snow, when we get storms, they go back in the maritime forest. They have their long, shaggy coats on, their winter coats that they grow naturally. They're used to it. There has been always a lot of concern. What happens with the horses? Do you rein them in? There's a certain someone on social media out here who loves to create all kinds of wild images with AI, and he'll load them up on a bus, the wild horses. But no, the wild horses are fine, folks. Those of you wondering, the wild horses are just fine. They're used to it. They've been dealing with this for centuries. They're back in the maritime forest, just hanging out. They've got all ways to keep themselves warm. In fact, they say if you see snow on the back of one of the horses, if you see snow on the back of an animal, that means it's insulated because that snow's not melting because they're not losing heat. So just something, one of those unique things about the Outer Banks is our wild horses, and people ask about them all the time.
No, there you go. Fascinating.
This is, I'm going to tell you what, and it's funny to see a lot of people. Most of the people I've seen locally, I just had Megan Agresto, who's the keeper of the Crates Beach Lighthouse, come out here, offered brownies. She had texted me once she saw we were live, and then she all of a sudden just walks by here a little bit ago where I'm at, offering brownies up. Thank you, Megan. But I am seeing a few people out doing the same thing that I'm doing, which is, surveying the scene and getting their videos. I see a Maryland plate right now. Because there are people out here in the January who want to, they saw it. I saw a lot of people saying they wanted to come down here and stay for the weekend to see snow on the beach because it's not a once in a lifetime thing, but it's so unusual. Even though after our big snow deficit that we had earlier in the decade and the last part of last decade, and we got 2 events last year, we're getting another event this year. So, but there are a few people out and about. Probably need to start thinking about getting on in and hunkering down, though. I need to be thinking that myself.
Yeah, we definitely want to be conscious of the fact that we're telling people to stay off the roads, and Sam's currently out on the roads professionally, but it's good to hunker down at a certain point too. Sam, I don't know if it's possible for you to bring your mic volume down a little bit, unless it's just my earpiece. It sounds a little loud and distorted, but there is, of course, a flip side to this, which is the fun side of snow. It's Saturday. I think a lot of people are off. Obviously not everyone, as Sam mentioned. The kids don't have school. And so we had lots of neighborhood activity out here a little bit earlier of people sled riding. I keep wanting to say sleigh riding. My wife keeps telling me it's not sleigh riding, it's sledding. So I'm trying to correct 30 years of saying a different word. But the only thing we had trouble doing was packing those snowballs and trying to make snowmen, because it's just not that type of snow. But it's 3:30-ish now. We were out here at 9. I cleared a spot before. It is continuing to come down at about an inch an hour here in Charlotte, which is how we're getting these snowfall totals in the greater Charlotte area of something like 6.5 inches, and it's still coming down. So when we think about what the snowfall accumulations were for Charlotte, 6 to 8 inches, it seems like pretty solid that we're going to get closer to that 8 inches. And I'm sure you guys talked about this already too. That dry slot over the Raleigh-Durham area, man, that is just really probably putting a damper on a lot of the activity there. Do you want me to try to walk towards the street and see if I can see anything down yonder?
I mean, if you'd like, James, we are. Be careful, don't slip.
Who put that tree there?
Yeah, I know, and I just want to be conscious of not losing your microphone either. So,
how is it here?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good actually. So let me. I'm going to full screen you again because we can't. Yeah, because I'm not going to be able to see you guys.
Yeah, I can't see you anymore either, but hopefully you can see me.
Yeah, we've got
you. I mean, every surface within view, of course, is coated in snow. I've got snowfall accumulation on my roof, which is something that I'm not accustomed to seeing. I don't think it's a dangerous amount, but with this persistent snow that's been falling, the other thing I've been noticing is you got to use what you've got, right? I can hear off in the distance. I think somebody's got a leaf blower going. I had a neighbor earlier who used a leaf blower, I think just to kind of clear this powdery snow. Again, I haven't seen anybody come through here yet to actually clear off any of this snow. We're at probably the bottom of the list, as we should be, because it's a tertiary street. I do see lots of snow on these Bradford pears above me, which, don't get me started on Bradford pears. Go back to the show a couple weeks ago where Frank and I talked about how lovely Bradford pears are. Other than that, it's pretty quiet. I see a Spectrum internet van out and about right now, presumably doing service calls. I do see a couple of neighbors driving up and down our main street to get in and out. I've seen a couple families come on by. The road itself, not too slippery. We don't have that layer of ice we had last week. I'm not saying go out and drive on it, but if you're trying to go for these walks with the family or with pets, it's a lovely time to do that. I saw a dog go by before that had a nicer coat on than I think I do. And now's the time to do it while the sun is up, because again, tonight is where this lovely snow is going to turn very cold, very frigid, and get dangerous for anybody who doesn't have safe heating. Sam, did you make it out of your vehicle?
I did. I warmed up enough, and I went to the handheld stick now, so it's a little easy. There we go. There's the lighthouse, in case you were curious, where I am. Craytuck Beach Lighthouse here in Corolla. So, yeah, I did get back outside, put the gloves on because I had them off earlier. That was not smart. But, yeah, it's definitely, whew, man, it is cold. And I'm not going to lie, it is cold. And we have not frozen out. Yeah, I just got a text from someone saying 158. Here in which is the main road for 168, 158. That's the main road to get from Hampton Roads to the Outer Banks. It's starting to be. That probably is my signal that I need to wrap it up, because here's the sad part. Right over behind me, that's the Currituck Sound. You can't see it because of the snow. I live 5 miles right there. It's going to take me probably roads, because I got to go all the way down the county, all the way back up. If I had a boat, I'd be good. 5 miles. It'll take me an hour and a half to get there, even without the snow. So we're going to probably hit the road here, guys. I'm going to head out. Man, if this is just the beginning, 12 hours from now, I can't imagine what it's going to be like at 3:30 in the morning. If we're going to get 8 to 12, this is pretty brutal, guys. This is a big one. This is a big one. We're going to be talking about this storm for a long time.
Yeah, no question about it, Sam. I really, I have been very impressed so far with what we've seen. So yeah, let's get you warm. Let's get you home in about 4 hours. Hopefully, you get there, 1 mile an hour, and we can get you home and safe and everything like that. Really appreciate you, coming in from the. Getting out into the elements and reporting live from the Outer Banks, Sam. Really appreciate that. And James is texting around a little bit, and yeah, I'm just watching the radar here, and yeah, it just keeps on trucking. So
yeah, I'm taking a look to see exactly what else is going on. I see some accidents out there on major roadways, some involving trucks apparently in Gaston County. So all the more reason for you to say, yes, Sam, please go and get on home. There's plenty of more moisture, and it's still coming.
It's still coming, folks. We'll talk to you later.
Bye,
Thanks,
Sam.
Sam.
Thank you.
All right, and then so James, I'll tell you. I mean, this has been. I'm looking at my window. I can definitely see some snow now falling in my neck of the woods here in Charleston. Getting a lot of reports from all over. It's happening. This is happening. I got to tell you, I'm pretty impressed with the consistency and the and everything in the models over the last few days. I mean, this has really been kind of on the radar for the better part of a week, and seems to be coming to pass so far. About as for most of us. The way we expected. I know that some of y'all are still getting dry slotted, and that sucks. I wish, unfortunately, that's a crude way to put it, but that's unfortunate, and I feel bad for you guys. And we'll see if we can get you some. We'll see if we can get some snow on the back end of this thing. But yeah,
last Saturday night we were doing a special edition of our show because of the ice storm, and I remember Frank teasing us that there was going to be another system next weekend. Here is now the so-called next weekend. And I remember when we talked to Greg Fischel on our regular Wednesday night show, we thought somebody in central North Carolina was going to get a big, hefty amount of 12 inches of snow, and that still probably is going to happen somewhere either in the Sandhills of South Carolina or maybe not too far from where I am, and of course also out by the Outer Banks. But even on Wednesday, Greg was still kind of cautioning that there was this scenario where all this dry air worked its way in, and it was going to put a real damper on the snow day for anybody maybe in the Triangle. Now, of course, the last couple of days, obviously, the forecast changes, and so we saw a little margin of error of where that big bullseye was going to be and where that dry slot was going to be. And yeah, it does seem like that big dry slot is set up over a lot of people who I'm just going to presume were hoping for snow. And so if that's the case in the Triangle, yeah, you probably have a good amount of disappointment right now. I haven't checked it in a minute, and that's why I was looking at my phone, just trying to understand what's happening in the world beyond me. But Jared, who's going to get more snow, Myrtle Beach or Raleigh?
That's a good question at this point. I mean,
or one of these coastal locations, I guess is my point, right? Because this is such a coastal storm, the whole thing feels so backwards to the way it normally goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hybrid situation, right? So we have the upper low that's swinging through, and that's what's generating your snow. That's where your snow is coming from. It's a huge upper low. And then we have the coastal low, which is really only affecting eastern North Carolina. So a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in much of the Carolinas west of the dry slot is driven by the huge bowling ball upper low that's going to be moving through over the next several hours. So the coastal low is kind of incidental for us.
Do you see these guys?
Yes, I sure do.
People, yeah, that is one. That's smart.
No, I mean, if I had the equipment, that's what I would be doing. Yeah. That's for sure. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's a safe way to get around. I like it. But yeah, let me grab my radar here real quick, and I just, when I look at, James, when I kind of peek at this and I look at that, I think Myrtle is going to get in on the fun here probably sooner rather than later at this point. Based on the upper low, it's going to take a little bit longer for some to fall in Raleigh. That's not to say that Raleigh and the Triangle are going to be shut out. I think that is not it, but it's certainly going to have an overall impact on the totals. So that's just kind of the situation we find ourselves in. Although it looks like the dry slot is starting to, it's coming and going. You're really right on, Lumberton, Fayetteville, right on the line here. So. It's going to be really interesting to see how this ultimately turns out for folks. But hopefully, for Central North Carolina, we can get a little bit more of this moving in here soon. We knew that there was going to be a dry slot somewhere, and the models have been flipping and flopping back and forth. They had Raleigh, and I mean, I remember looking at the models. You know, it was like 16 inches in Raleigh, and then nothing, and then 2 inches, and then 14, and then so the models have a very hard time resolving these smaller.
Yeah, well, it's not too dissimilar from when we're
Things.
tracking tropical systems, right? Like
Yeah.
we kind of have an idea of the path, but it's the intensity that still has opportunity to be worked on. If you heard honking while you were talking, looking at the radar there, that was a neighbor driving by, waving at the two folks who had gone by on the cross-country skis. Because we are still very much, I think, here in the kind of it's fun to be outside in the snow mode. I can hear another family just down the street attempting to have a snowball fight, but again, this stuff is really hard to pack. You gotta throw it and it just kind of explodes.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, yeah, it's definitely not snowball weather by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, it's coming down pretty steady here. I don't have a camera to look outside, unfortunately, but take my word for it. And
can we see anything on like DOT at the Ravenel Bridge? Are you guys out trying to clear those vital roadways? I know the DOT has been trying to keep stuff open and moving, and we saw Sam out there on the Outer Banks, so where largely is one road in, one road out, the NC-12 route, and that's going to be quite a chore to get that moving and grooving again, because it's going to be so cold, right? So I mean, I don't expect this stuff maybe necessarily to stick around as long as the sleet did, since it's mostly fluffy, airy snow, but when you look at the frigid temperatures the next couple of days, we didn't have a full day of school here in Charlotte all week for icing and sleet that happened on Sunday. I'm very curious to see what 6 to 8 inches of snow is going to do to us when it's still on the ground some form or fashion come Monday. If you're screen sharing something, it doesn't look like it's come through yet.
I am working on it. I am working on it. I just got to get this. I got to figure out where it went, but all right. I think we're just going to do a display capture real quick. There we go. Yeah, this is the Ravenel, and you can see a lot of trucks. You can see a lot of trucks on the road there. A lot of emergency vehicles. Trying to make sure that things are clear, but things are moving. I mean, it certainly seems like things are moving right now. You can certainly see that there is at least some fog, maybe a little steam, but but certainly some precipitation there. So not a lot of people on the road, which is good. That's what we want to see. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna take a little bit to see some of that build up. But
the fog is interesting, and I don't think I have any fog here, and you might have some of that going on because of your coastal interactions, but the visibility is a problem because of just how consistent the snowfall here is, even here in the Piedmont. I was talking to Brad Panovich over at WCNC before, and they've got sky cams at varying heights. Some are on rooftops, some are like halfway up towers, and some are like way up on towers. And a lot of times they'll go and they'll zoom in and they'll show you really far away, or they'll show you a skyline. But then we were trying to get them all to point down towards the ground or whatever the nearest road was, because the visibility was so poor that if they tried to look straight out, all you saw was pure white. You couldn't see, say, the skyline of Charlotte off in the distance. We had to just look down at the roadways below. WCNC, for example, is on Billy Graham Parkway by the airport, if you're familiar with this area. So even from there, trying to look at the skyline, and I don't know what that is, 4 or 5 miles, they couldn't see that far away, so the camera just instead was looking down on Billy Graham Parkway, because you definitely have reduced visibility, which is only going to get worse when we start getting the winds kicking up here soon. Yeah, absolutely. And again, the other thing that we kind of keep talking about this, and I know we're going to get annoying here talking about it, but this is not normal snow for this part of the world. This powdery stuff. This is an extremely cold air mass for this part of the world. And James is going to grab some and show and demonstrate it for you. That stuff is going to blow around a lot more easily. And when the winds kick up later tonight, some of it with the coastal low, some of it with the upper low, some of it with the pressure gradient of high pressure building south, it's going to blow around. I mean, they're talking about possible blowing snow here in Charleston. Whiteout conditions maybe in the Outer Banks, Not quite a blizzard, but close. Blizzard has a real term, but close. I wonder if I walk back down to the street, if I can count how far down the street I can see. And I don't know if my microphone's going to reach it, so this could be a terrible idea. But let's just see. I don't know. You still got me out here, way out here on the road. You probably can't see me.
Unbelievably, yes.
Well, I did charge all the microphones after they kept shutting down this morning. Yeah, I can't see the end of the street. So call it visibility less than a mile.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, and I think that's going to be kind of the key here. I mean, this is.
I will say I just found a real icy spot, and I think it's the spot in the middle of the road where the car treads keep compacting over and over and over and over again. That's icy.
Yeah, for sure, and that's going to be where a lot of the problems are going to come from. So, yeah, I you know, it's burr.
Yeah. Do we have anything else we need to cover in this update? I know you guys got going before I hopped on. So.
Yeah, no, I think we're good. Again, we're getting into the swing of things now down here in coastal South Carolina. This is going to move up the coast, and again, we'll be keeping an eye on. Eventually we should get some of this moving into the Raleigh area. I know that those of you, kind of in that I-95, I-40 corridor there. I know that's not been fun at the moment. But we'll be watching this, and we should be able to see as that upper low makes its trek over time, getting there. But yes, but again, I think the most important thing that we can before we go to reemphasize is that you're going to want to layer up when you get out into this stuff. This is really unusually cold for this time of year, for this neck of the woods, and really for this time of year. We're going to set some record lows with this event. We're going to have very cold wind chills in the single digits that we just don't get in Charleston, just speaking personally here. And for many of you, we're not going to have that. Excuse me. So, bundle up. Not going to be fun.
Jared, I went and I grabbed my shovel, Jared. I grabbed my shovel because my neighbor has been using a broom, and I think I'm going to go offer him a shovel.
That is a good idea.
Yeah. I got a couple tools that I, mostly just collect dust in the garage, but every couple of years you need the shovel or the sled.
They collect dust and then they collect the dusting.
They're going to collect the dusting. The dusting and then some.
Yep, absolutely. But anyway,
I can tell viewers.
Yeah,
I can tell viewers that once we're done here, if they're watching on YouTube, they're automatically going to join us over on the Carolina Weather Net, which is streaming throughout the night with cameras and real-time conditions and snowfall accumulations as they get tallied up by the Weather Service. So if you're not on YouTube, come check us out on YouTube and hang out with us. It's going to be a great place to stay abreast of what's happening, even when your hosts around the Carolinas are not yapping. You guys can continue the conversations in the little chat section of the Carolina Weather Net stream. I saw people sharing snowfall accumulations.
Yep, awesome. That's great. Well, James, I'm going to let you get back inside. I'm going to go outside and go have some fun. For James Brierton in Charlotte, and for Sam in Carl. I don't want to call it Corolla. I always it's not a Toyota. It's
no, but that is right there out of view is a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Sam. I'm rusty. And for Frank up in Columbia, I'm Jared Smith here in Charleston. Be dry, be well, have some fun, and we'll talk to you real soon.